Hello and welcome to the Lore of Alaire. I'm Ian the Dungeon Master, and today we're going to be taking a close look at the Kingdom of Farenwell, its economy, history, and leadership. Long ago, in the era of shadows, Farenwell was a much smaller power on the east coast of Alaire. Most who lived there were simple farming humans who toiled away under their fiefdoms, paying taxes to their lords in exchange for protection, and they certainly needed it. From the north, the Jarls of Sarengar would rally their forces and raid the more fertile southern farmland. In addition to this, if the Jarls failed to hold back the mountain orcs of the Algor range, then the hordes would soon spill into Farenwell, causing havoc wherever they go. As well as these troubles, terrible disease would spread from the coasts of Zaeda, the lingering effects of a long-lost empire who worshipped darker powers. The dwarves of Cared Morhen were spreading ever further south with industrious fervor. Those who would leave Farenwell found travel further south was difficult due to the arid land and its savage denizens. Though Farenwell was not considered mighty by any means, the makings of a great empire were present from the beginning. Miles of fertile land, towns interconnected with well-maintained roads, large, accessible ports, successful mining operations, and a quickly growing population. Despite the hardships they constantly faced, the people of Farenwell persevered. During these times, Alaire was at least partially united by the Old Council, a group of representatives from around the continent. However, Farenwell often conceded to greater powers. How could they stand against the savages of Sarengar, or the newly emergent dragon-led city-states of Kelaira? How could they economically compete with the vast gold mines of Cared Morhen, or the religious influence of the ancient temples of Elenvir? It was not until the rise of Devarius Caldenin, a paladin of Eelmater, that Farenwell's fortunes began to change, around 30 years ago. A young man of shining example, loyal to his people, compassionate to the common folk, as well as being a capable warrior with a closer connection to his god than the high priests of Elenvir. Devarius found himself at the head of a great number of fiefdoms after showing remarkable courage and sacrifice in the River Wars against Sarengar. Soon Devarius earned a seat at the Old Council, and though he was a representative of the small Kingdom of Farenwell, his force of will was undeniable, and the other representatives came to heed his words. Devarius found the council to be antiquated, filled with out-of-touch elders who were not working for the benefit of their kingdoms. He listened as Clan Mulnar of Cared Morhen exchanged great plots of land at the sacrifice of their people for the sake of greed. He watched as the Sunriders of Vokenreath waged war to maintain old traditions. He watched the dragons of Kelaira raise armies and struggle amongst each other in the sand. He watched the Jarls of Sarengar shift blame for the River Wars, claiming Sarengar as a whole could not be punished for the actions of a few leaders. He watched the pirates of Zaeda rise to power, and Elenvir's devotion to the divine prevent them from acting for the greater good. Slowly, the burdens of leadership molded Devarius into something new. Instead of a paladin of Eelmater, compassionate and kind, there stood a leader of men, cold and calculating. His people's discontent grew, unsatisfied with the perceived imbalance of the Old Council's rulings. A decade ago, Devarius gathered the Old Council at Farenwell's new capital, Lancaster, and shook the history of Alaire with one decree. Farenwell would be departing to form their own leadership independent of the other leaders. This sent a ripple of uncertainty throughout the Old Council, and for 3 nights they debated the merit of Devarius' decision. Some agreed that Farenwell had been taken advantage of for too long, and with the addition of their trade as an independent nation, all of Alaire would benefit. Some saw through the ploy. If Farenwell was no longer regulated by the influence of the Old Council, they would expand at a dangerous rate. On the 3rd night of the meeting, a mob grew in Lancaster, and despite Devarius' pleas, his own people stormed the council's meeting place, executing any leaders who wouldn't agree to their demands. Some managed to escape, like Vinveriac Mulnar. Others died fighting, like Jonjabar the Pirate Lord, and some have not been seen since that fateful night, like Grand Master Lexorian Pale. Within a week, Devarius was reluctantly crowned King of Farenwell. Unable to stop the events he had put in motion, he turned to his god Eelmater for assistance. But he had already strayed too far from the path of righteousness. Where once there was compassion, now there was calculation. Where once there was love, there was now only hate. Dismayed and desperate, Devarius called out to darker powers, So began the persecution of all non-clean humans, half-orcs, half-elves, and the like. Devarius's ideals twisted, and he began to believe that to maintain the path towards glory, Farenwell's human heritage must be preserved at all costs. Now, a decade after he became monarch, Devarius commands his growing forces in a forefront war, with no sign of stopping. Farenwell's success in subjugating their neighboring kingdoms is second to none, with lands far to the west and north slowly finding themselves within new borders. To hold control over such a large territory, Devarius installed new leaders in the occupied territory, a wealthy family or an honorable combatant in the wars over their homes, essentially turning the land into a giant fiefdom where much of the wealth flows into Farenwell. These leaders are called Knights of the Order of Swords, and as of the moment, 23 knights rule in Devarius's name, willingly or not. Thanks for watching this video on the Lore of Alaire. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. I have a lot more videos planned, and I'll see you later.